Hello, I'm Mr. Kissinger, and this is Grade 5, Module 1, Lesson 13. Today's objective is divide decimals by single-digit whole numbers involving easily identifiable multiples by using place value understanding and relate to a written method. So we're going to try to understand how to divide decimals by using division problems that we are familiar with, multiples we're familiar with, to kind of get a better number sense or a better understanding of how dividing decimals works. So flipping over to our back side of our page here, we'll look at letter A. It says 4 groups of blank tenths equals 1.6. Now, what we can do to make this a little easier is instead of 1.6, we can look at this as 16 tenths. So now our labels are the same, our units are the same. We're working with tenths. So 4 groups of blank tenths is 16 tenths. 4 times how many tenths is 16 tenths? Well, 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4 tenths is 16 tenths. So another way to say that is 1.6 or 16 tenths divided by 4 is 4 tenths. Letter B, it says 8 groups of blank hundredths is 0.32. Again, let's change our units. So instead of looking at this as 0.32, we're going to look at it as 32 hundredths. So 8 groups of how many hundredths will give us 32 hundredths? So 8 times what equals 32? Well, 8 times 4 is 32. So 8 groups of 4 hundredths is 0.32 or 32 hundredths. 0.32, 32 hundredths divided by 8 equals 4 hundredths. So we get the same answer for the first 2 here. Now let's look at letter C. We get a different answer here. So 7 groups of blank thousandths is 84 thousandths. So this number right here is 84 thousandths. All right. And then how many groups of 7 will give us 84? So we can do, 7 times, let's start with 7 times 8. 7 times 8 is 56. Okay, we're too low. How about 7 times 10? Well, 7 times 10 will give us 70. We're still too low. 7 times 11 is 77. 7 times 12, okay, that's pretty close. That's 84. So we're going to go 84 thousandths. 84 thousandths is 7 groups of 12 thousandths. And then 84 thousandths divided by 7 equals 12 thousandths, or 0.012. You know what? Mr. K made a mistake. 0.4 is not 4 hundredths. So we have to be really careful when we write these out. 4 hundredths looks like this. So this is 4 tenths. This is 4 hundredths. This is 12 thousandths. So when we're not careful, when we're going too quickly, even teachers make mistakes sometimes. So you have to be really careful where we put our decimal point and make sure that we have the right amount of place values. And if we take our time and we do it right, and then we can make sure that we have everything where it needs to go. All right, let's move on to number 2 down here. So 4.2 divided by 7 equals how many tenths? Divided by 7. So we have 4.2 is 42 tenths divided by 7. 42 tenths divided by 7 equals, well, 42 divided by 7 equals 6. 42 tenths divided by 7 equals 6 tenths. And the way we write 6 tenths is 0.6. So there's our tenths place here. 0.6. All right, so let's move on to number 3. It says find the quotients. Then use words, numbers, or pictures to describe any relationships you notice between each pair of problems and quotients. So, letter A says 32 divided by 8. Well, 32 divided by 8, what times 8 equals 32? 8 times 4 equals 32, so 32 divided by 8 equals 4. So what if we had 3.2 divided by 8? We're going to do, instead of 32, we have 32 tenths divided by 8. And that's going to be 4 tenths. And we'll write 4 tenths. It looks like this. Letter B, 81 divided by 9 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81, so 81 divided by 9 equals 9. And then 81 thousandths divided by 9. So we'll do 81 thousandths divided by 9 equals 9 thousandths. And 9 thousandths looks like this. So when we look at these pairs of quotients, what's similar about them? What do we have in common between this number and this number? Well, each of them has a 4. The difference is where the decimal point is. Again, let's look at letter B. 9 and 9 thousandths. They're both of the numbers have a 9. In this one, the 9 is in the ones place. In this over here, the 9 is in the thousandths place. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousandths. All right, and then lastly on number 4 here, it says, are the quotients below reasonable? Explain your answers. So let's look at our first one. It says 5.6 divided by 7 equals 8. Well, if I have 5.6, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I had 0.6, so we have maybe a little more than a half of a circle there. If I want to split this into 7 groups, will I have a whole number? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit. Well, I'm not going to be able to split that into 7 groups and have a number larger than 1. So I know that I'm not going to have 8 as a result, or as a quotient. So 5.6, let's change that to 56 tenths. Then we'll divide that by 7. 56 divided by 7 is 8. But we're not done yet, because we're working with tenths. So it's 8 tenths. And 8 tenths looks like this, which is not the same as that. Letter B, 56 divided by 7 is 0.8 or 8 tenths. Well, this one we know that 5.6 divided by 7 is 8 tenths. So we know 56 divided by 7 can't also be 8 tenths. We also know that 56 divided by 7 is 8. Which is not the same as 0.8 or 8 tenths. How about this one? 0.56 divided by 7. So we have 56 hundredths. Divided by 7. Well, 56 divided by 7 is 8. But we're talking about hundredths, so we have 8 hundredths. And we have 0.08 is 8 hundredths. Well, that's equal. So that one I would say is the only one out of the three that's reasonable. All right, so that'll be it for Grade 5, Module 1, Lesson 13. Hope you guys all have an awesome rest of your day, and we will see you next time.